All right. Hi, I'm Jakin, and I'm from Korea, South, not North. Welcome to my first video. And today I want to talk about data and data consumption, whether it is good or bad, and what effect it has on us, whether positive or negative. I picked this topic for my first video because it is closely related to one of the main reasons as to why I'm starting a YouTube channel. I think most of us experienced something positive about having too much data, such as that tip on how to wipe a car window effectively, or what phone to buy, or what country to travel to. But also, I'm pretty sure many of us feel like we know less because we know more, if you know what I mean. Instead of being able to focus, we often find ourselves mindlessly consuming data and information from the internet and everything else around us, regardless of whether or not such information is actually beneficial for my well-being in the long run. I'm pretty sure how cats react to cucumbers, or how Mr. Beast gave away his money again, or how much burgers a person can stuff in his mouth in a minute is not much relevant to our lives, but we still get to see them anyway, simply because they exist at the tip of our fingers. Let me throw in some facts before I get to my personal opinions. Roughly 306 billion emails are sent and received daily in 2020. 500 million tweets are sent each day, 200 billion each year. Over 100 million photos and videos are shared on Instagram per day. 500 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every minute worldwide, which amounts to 30,000 hours of video uploaded every hour, 720,000 hours of video uploaded every day. 720,000 hours is 30,000 days, which is 986 months, which is roughly 82 years. Your lifetime worth of video is uploaded to YouTube every day. 1 billion hours of watch time per day. It will take an individual over 100,000 years to watch 1 billion hours of content. If every single person in the world, which is around 7.9 billion people, watched 7.5 minutes of YouTube every day, it would only then amount to 1 billion hours. The end of 2021 could see 2 trillion searches only on Google, which is 6 billion searches per day. I feel like I could take up about 1% of that search count. My nickname was Mr. Google when I was working at a company, for apparent reasons. According to market intelligence company IDC, the world's data will grow to 175 zettabytes in 2025. 1 zettabyte equals around 1 trillion gigabytes. Frankly, I can't even come close to understanding the magnitude of this number. But apparently, if you were to store 175 zettabytes on DVDs, your stack of DVDs would be long enough to circle Earth 222 times. All right. With all that data in our midst, how does it affect us? How has it improved the quality of our lives? Access to so much data has, of course, fundamentally changed businesses, education systems, governments, healthcare, and even the way in which we interact with one another. It has become one of the key drivers of social evolution. There are practically no areas in which data has not affected our lives in some form or another, from air travel, gaming, artificial intelligence, music, news, education, and you name it. If you want some form of information, almost everything you need to know are instantly there available for you in some form or another at the tip of your fingertips. Ask Google and try to find something that it doesn't know. You'll find it harder than you think. It probably knows more about you than you know about yourself in certain areas. Without doubt, there are countless advantages to having so much data at hand, and everyone is highly aware of all the benefits that we reap from it. But is having easy access to so much data only beneficial? Is there any drawbacks and negatives when it comes to having too much information? Putting aside the obvious existence of the information and data itself being negative, false, misleading, and just outright bad, of which there are plenty, no doubt, following are some examples of how even good data can be a source of drawback in our lives. I found 5 specific areas in which data could potentially be one of the worst enemy and barrier to success and progress. Firstly, we are never satisfied due to the endless information such as videos, Pictures, success stories, extravagant lives, exciting events and places. We end up constantly comparing ourselves with others and the potential life out there somewhere. Someone is always better than me, someone is always richer than me, someone is always having more fun than I am. Someone's life is more meaningful and purposeful than mine. Someone is more professional than I am. Someone is handsomer, prettier, more creative, braver, more everything and anything than I am. During the pre-internet era, if I was the best in town, I was the best in town, and that was that. But now, there are countless examples out there of people that are incomparably better than I am, people with standards and levels I can only dream of achieving. Lack of motivation, or as I call it, I can't be the first one mindset. I think most of us have this notion of someone somewhere must have done it already. Why should I even try? This leads us to not even try in the first place and give up halfway thinking I'll never reach that level of perfection or excellence. Try to think back how many times you thought you wanted to learn something like a new skill, language, some sort of music or sports, but dropped the idea just because the level of perfection that others are at are simply too intimidating and beyond my reach. Or also the time you thought of a great idea like a business idea or a YouTube channel or a book, but brushed it away thinking someone must have thought of that already and it must be out there somewhere somehow, so why bother? I'm an INTP, so naturally I am definitely included in that bunch, if you know what I mean and if you're into MBTIs and stuff. Anyway, lack of originality. The simple circumstance of having instant data and information everywhere causes us to instinctively search online when we need to do something without second thought. This could be super beneficial in many circumstances, but at the same time, it somewhat deprives us of our originality, and the uniqueness of individuals are reduced. Instead of trying to come up with something unique through creative thought process, we simply follow the herd. Instead of forming opinions and perspectives on issues of importance through pondering, reasoning, and analyzing, we simply look up online and form half-baked opinion of others and adopt them as your own. While thinking about this exact issue, I tried thinking what truly original thoughts I have had over the past few months. For me personally, I found my own thoughts mostly full with someone else's thoughts and opinions that I found on the internet, books, social media, YouTube, and stuff like that. And although at the time it feels like I'm thinking, I'm actually mostly mindlessly consuming and taking in other people's opinions and thoughts. When there's a big issue or a social problem in our midst, it's easy for us to simply look up online and watch how the majority react to the situation. We read some comments, watch some YouTube videos, and then make up our minds based on that. Using this method, problem solving may be easy and efficient, but we no longer cultivate unique perspective through deep meditation and retrospect, but simply choose to follow the crowd and let them decide what I think. Analysis paralysis, difficulty in deciding. There are too much options, or rather seems to be, and you are never able to settle on one thing. We know in our hearts that to succeed in any given profession or field, one must focus on one or very few things. But because of the vast information out there, we are constantly at a hunt for the right thing for me, the right moment, the right people, the right opportunity, the right career. Not only that, even in our small daily decisions, we are bombarded by the vast array of options such as which smartphone to buy, where to live, what to eat, what clothes to wear, what app to use, what games to play, which social media to dabble with, even who to marry. Finally, too much data can be critical time wasters and distractions. I don't think it's really necessary for me to explain this, since almost everyone would have experienced this in some form or another. If I add up all the time I wasted on mindlessly surfing the internet, watching YouTube videos that neither add value nor have relevance to my life, scrolling through social media, I'll probably have enough time to learn 5 new languages. Even now, trying to make this video, I don't even know how many times I glanced at my phone without apparent reason. There is so much entertainment available at the tip of our fingers, and it's harder than ever to focus on one thing for any length of time. Being distracted can be compared to addiction. Try to stop looking at social media, YouTube, and all that fun stuff for one day, and you'll find out how difficult it is to actually do that. Although it can be compared to addiction, it is inherently not a negative thing like a drug or alcohol, which is why we treat it without too much concern or disregard it altogether, saying mindless internet surfing and social media scrolling and YouTube watching, don't we all? Which is why it can be even more detrimental to our lives in the long run. So, what's the solution? Are we aware of both the benefits and the drawbacks of too much data? Only then we will be able to minimize the drawbacks and maximize the benefits. Data is a double-edged sword. It is the strongest and best tool we have at hand, and at the same time, it can be our worst enemy. The main drawback for having easy access to massive data and information is focused on those that do not know how to utilize data for their advantage. For those with an open mind and creative mind, data is a source of inspiration and the greatest asset, but for those only concerned with consumption and entertainment, more information equals more distraction only. I think the ultimate question you should be asking yourself is, are you on the consuming end or creating end of this era? As much as internet and data has created benefits to the consuming end, the ultimate benefit and profit still go to the creating end, as is the case for everything. What you do with the available data is the key question. If your end goal is consumption, then you will stay as a consumer forever mindlessly and blindly consuming data about cats and dogs and Kim Kardashians. But if your goal is to create, all the resources are out there already for you to build your creation upon. You can access to information and data that no king or emperor could even dream of having in the previous generations, and you can target audiences and people beyond borders worldwide. Think of the possibilities and advantages that you have and start creating something. Going back to why I'm starting YouTube, I want to stop being on the consuming end only. I would far rather be on the creating end and reap the true benefits of data. So yep, thanks guys. See you on my next video.